Joining us today for Primetime Local News is Neil Campbell, Regional Operations Manager with Flamin, and was on the committee for the Little Warriors Be Brave Ranch. Thank you so much for joining us today, Neil.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Happy to be able to have you on here because this is an extremely important but also very difficult topic to speak about. Now, with what you're advocating for and what you want people to learn through your experience. So starting off, can you explain what the Be Brave Ranch exactly is?
Little Warriors Be Brave Ranch is a one-of-a-kind facility that treats children that have been sexually abused. 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 5 boys will be sexually abused in their lifetime. Myself, I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. I was abused at the age of 9 over the span of a year, and I've decided to speak about my story, tell my story, in the hopes that we'll bring more awareness to what I believe is truly a worldwide epidemic.
And with being a survivor, like you were saying, you know how important it is to want to spread awareness on this issue. So I wanted to ask you, what made you decide to become a voice in this matter and become a part of the ranch?
So for myself, how I was inspired to start, being an activist, I guess is what you could call it, is I read Theo Fleury's book, Playing with Fire. Most people know his story. So that motivated me, it inspired me to try and do more to help with this issue in any way I can. I stumbled across the Be Brave Ranch, and honestly, I can't even remember how, but I went out there for the first time to drop off some donations, and obviously it was an extremely emotional time, but it allowed me to support them, and I've been supporting them since 2017.
Now, through your experience and journey of making your way to the Be Brave Ranch, how would you say it's benefiting for sexual assault victims? Has there been a strong response so far, a big impact?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I mean, when the kids come to the ranch, I've actually spent time with some of the kids. I've been lucky enough to be asked to spend time and mentor some of the boys. When they arrive there, they're a certain person. When they leave, they're a totally different person. So the impact is enormous. How you measure it, boy, I'll tell you, all you have to do is just spend some time with these kids. They're finally in a safe area. They're getting the counseling that they need. They're learning how to cope. And the impacts, we won't see the impacts for years. And why I say that is a lot of survivors turn to substance abuse to, cover up their shame and their anger and their feelings from their abuse. So for myself, that was something that I did. I abused alcohol for many, many years, still struggle with addiction. So when we talk about how it's going to impact lives, really 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, when these kids are actually not having to go through some of the situations that I did, that's where we'll really see the results of what this ranch does for these children.
And for people even watching this interview alone on your experience and what the Be Brave Ranch has to offer, what are you hoping people will get out of this message that you're advocating for?
Well, a few things. The first one, most importantly, is just the awareness of how significant sexual abuse is in our society. People don't want to talk about it. They sweep it under the rug, and it's just one of those conversations that people don't want to have. I want to make people uncomfortable. I want people to have to talk about it because a lot of people feel they haven't been affected by sexual abuse, but you have been, but you may not even know it. Somebody in your family may have been abused and they are acting out and they're, having self-harm or once again addiction issues. So I want to start the conversation, and really especially for men, because men don't talk about it. We aren't allowed to do that, right? We're supposed to be tough and macho, if that's even a word anymore. I don't know if macho is, but we're supposed to be strong all the time. I want to be one of the people that lead and show that it's okay to be vulnerable as a man and talk about these things. Secondly, I want to make sure that people understand and know that the ranch is out there. The most important thing for the ranch for people to know is that they get no government funding. So everything that they have is based on donation, whether it's cash or actual items. So, you could go to the Little Warriors Be Brave Ranch link and there's an items needed list. So I would compare it to if you wanted to go out and open a summer camp um, next week, well, anything a summer camp needs, they need. It's that massive. So, and I guess thirdly is just to have a voice for people that haven't found theirs yet. Because I know before I went public in 2017, not a lot of people knew about what happened to me. And when I finally decided to talk about my story, I really felt free. There was a weight lifted, and I want to help people lift that weight if I can.
Well, truly, Neil, I think what you're doing is very inspiring for being able to open with your personal experience and being an advocate for other victims who aren't comfortable with that just yet. I know you were just bringing up how people can donate to the ranch and everything, but how else can people help support in any way they can with the ranch or in other ways for victims?
It's important for people to know. I think that everybody wants to help and make a big difference. And sometimes when we feel we're not making a big difference, it doesn't help. But every little bit helps with the ranch, whether it's a box of Q-tips or it's a bag of socks or it's uh, clothing, whether it's soap, whatever it is, every little bit helps. And I want people to understand that. Even if you donate $20, that helps. So we don't have to have large donations. We will just take whatever we can to help these kids that need our help and support.
Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us today, Neil. This was a heavy topic, but essential to spread awareness on for anyone out there that could be going through that similar experience or even know someone who is. So I'm glad we could help get the word out on the Little Warriors Be Brave Ranch and be able to speak with you. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on. As you said, it's not an easy topic to discuss, but I'm very grateful that you took the time to reach out and allowed me some time to talk and bring this to light.